strong desire, when there is a strong desire to express, then there are no hiccups. When you came here, there was some kind of little bit problems here and there, even though the subject was you could speak on anything that is in your mind. But here, you were focused. Each team was focused. Within limited time, you had awarded your roles, and I think all of you have played very well. But this is about banking. When we come back after lunch, then it will be not banking. It will be something totally out. So that this is something which is area of your interest. Now, the next step will be the area where you are not interested. Where, of course, as human beings, we are interested in everything in life. But some surprises. And there we will see how good you are. You are undoubtedly. You will be much better than in the morning. Then individual presentations also I have in mind. So that when you come, you find yourself more confident. Now, any questions if you have, I'd like to answer. Don't say we don't have any questions. Questions must be there. Yes? The bankers not asking questions. Yeah?
We have different questions, sir.
Don't ask me banking questions, but ask me communication related questions.
Sir, when individually when I was asked to go there and speak, before I decided that I will speak up about something else. But when I went there, I was totally blank.
That's a kind of stage fright. We will talk about stage fright. Stage fright is unnecessary. I say any fright, any fear is unnecessary. If anybody is making some profit, some money, or if not money, some other kind of profit, by being under fear, please tell me, I like to learn. Fear is helping anyone? No? So, no one here is afraid of anything. If you are afraid, raise your hand. If you are not afraid of anything, then don't raise your hand. Only one person is afraid. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So all of us are afraid of one thing or the other. These are process. Yeah. Now I'll tell you.
Bosses are also under fear.
Now see, I would like to tell you that the fear doesn't help you. Your bosses may have their own pressures, but working under pressure does not improve your productivity.
But the question is how to overcome this.
Beta, that is why we are here. Why we are here? But we are here only if we have control over our speech. I think if you have control over your speech, you have control over your life. Because when you have control over your speech, at home also you will have good relations. But if the speech is not under control and your tone is not good, you are not using any bad words, but even if the tone is not good, there will be some kind of friction. Yes, you have a question? No.
But we have seen people performing under pressure.
I also agree.
No difference. Sir said under fear you cannot perform. That's pressure.
No, what I say is I excuse me, no cross talking.
Pressure always teaches a performance.
No cross talking. Otherwise, I'll answer. You said yes, under pressure we perform more. No, you should be focused and you should stretch yourself. All of us, all of the human beings are made to stretch. If we don't stretch, we remain where we are. And if we stretch, if we decide, if we focus and decide, okay, no, I'll perform better, you are going to, this is what is required.
So,
pressure,
but
So, but
Same-
in
same
HR, we
are
have to
you
understand that all the people are divided into two categories. One is who are self-motivated and they want to make things happen, and other people are they let things happen.
Okay.
So,
I would not like, I have understood your question. I would not like to make any comments on your HR.
no, sir, I'm talking about our when we were in college, when we were going through the HR subject as such. The,
That was wrong.
The school of thoughts are also there in HR.
No, those are wrong. Those are absolutely wrong. You try 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month. What I am saying, you should be so focused that you should know the rest of the world. It happens if you are really involved. Now, 5 minutes you could not have performed. In 5 minutes, you have, or 6 minutes, maybe one additional minute I have given. You organize yourself. You played. Somebody was banker, somebody was a client, and I didn't see any hiccups. So that means you had a strong desire and you were focused. Okay, we have limited time. There was no pressure. You are not under worry. Were you under worry? Like you are worried about the boss? No. And how was your performance? Very good. So the point which I am making is, one, you should enjoy your job. You can enjoy your job if you are not under pressure. You should be absolutely focused. And then another thing is you should be assertive, which I think, how many people are assertive? And what is assertiveness? What is assertiveness? Assertiveness is when you don't say yes if you want to say no. Now, if you are not assertive, you are in for a problem. Because you will say, yes, I will do it. And later on, you will find you will not be able to do it. Assertiveness, self-aware, you should be self-aware. You should be very decisive, not indecisive. If I say no, what she will think? No. But that can come only if you have ability to say something without hurting the others. And that is where communication comes in. You must have ability to say in such a manner that the other person says yes, he or she wants to do, but I can understand the problems. Now, if that kind of situation comes, your relations will be good, you will not be under pressure, and I can assure you, you will perform better. And you will enjoy your job. We have 24 hours, all of us, 24 hours each. Most of the waking time we are at work. If at work we are happy, then we are a happy person. If at work we are not happy, then I think you don't understand what happiness is. So if we start enjoying the work, then of course I write some blogs. So a series of blogs I wrote on the enemies of happiness. You have to identify your enemies of happiness. You have to identify your. Some could be common, some could be different. So most of the enemies are within, but some of the enemies are also out. I don't say it. There is no one. So you have to identify, and then you have to work out a plan. In short, I say if you start applying mind, nobody on the earth can stop you from being happy. And if you are happy, then you don't require anything else. Now when I say happy, you should have goals. All of you have goals. All of you have written goals. Please raise hands. Written goals. Yes, most of them.
Written, yes.
No, written. No, you should write. You should write, you should specify. And what kind of goals? Anybody who has raised hand, tell me. Yes, you.
Written in mind, not.
No, in mind. Yes.
Smart goals.
Huh?
Smart goals.
No.
Smart
Sure.
means
Are they?
it's a systematic,
If they are not
measurable,
secret,
achievable,
don't tell me philosophy. If you have goals, if you can share, we like to have. What are your goals?
If, for example, say I have decided one of my goals was to reduce 5 kg by 3 months. One of the goals. Long term, short term?
So, yes, you have reduced, it is very good. Second goal?
I do not want to be in India in 2016.
And you are working on it.
Yes.
Third goal?
I would like to buy a house, I would like to buy a car worth 12 lakh rupees for the next financial year.
When you go abroad or when you?
No, by the next financial year.
Very good, very good. So specific goals. Good example of specific goals. But please sit down. Thank you. We should have goals. Health, according to me, yes. Health is the first. First is health. Then career. Along with career is financial. How much money you are likely want to make. Then career, finance, family. If your family is not happy, no good. So family goals. The buck doesn't stop there. You should have hobby goals. Your life should not be you go to work, come back, eat, sleep, and again go to work. Hobby goals. Now, after hobby goals, social goals. You should have a good reputation. People should say, yes, that gentleman, he is really doing well in life. He's growing. After that, also there is one more goal, and that is your spiritual goals. Okay, with this I think we can break, unless you have any other question.
Lunch is ready, sir, and
Lunch is, that's why I said with this we can break. Since lunch is ready.
We'll meet again at 2 o'clock after 45 minutes.
We are in very the same as Atal Bihari Vajpayee speaks or other persons. So please watch them very closely. Watch them for clarity. Watch them for modulation. So that every time you watch and you remind yourself that these are the important things. Which are the important things? Number one, clarity. Each word that you speak should be very clear. Number two, how they are using their speech organs, if they are clear. Three, how they modulate, how they emphasize keywords, etc. Four, what I didn't talk about the body language. Body language, I only said okay, posture should be there, but now we'll see the body language. Body language is also critical if you are talking of public speaking. But body language is also important when you are having one-on-one meeting. Those meetings, the body language will be very controlled, very delicate. Whereas if you are in a public forum, then the body language will be different. So just have a look and then we'll discuss. And then we'll take it. Hitler.
Es spricht der Führer. Der 6. Parteitag der Bewegung geht zu Ende. Was für Millionen Deutsche, die außerhalb unserer Reihen stehen, vielleicht nur als imposantestes Schauspiel politischer Machtentfaltung gewertet wird, war für die Hunderttausende der Kämpfer unendlich mehr. Das große persönliche und geistige Treffen der alten Streiter und Kampfgenossen. Und vielleicht hat mancher unter ihnen trotz der zwingenden Großartigkeit dieser Herrscher unserer Partei sich wehmütigen Herzens zurückbesonnen in jene Tage, da es noch schwer war, Nationalsozialist zu sein. Nation mobilisierten, die zu allen Zeiten nicht die Mehrheit.
Now, that was a leader who was motivating his people. But we know Hitler, so we did not talk about it. The body language was also very aggressive. So today probably it is not, as I said, everything changes. So things have changed. Now you play Lincoln. Now it's a very small speech. It's not actually the original Lincoln speech. Somebody else has spoken. But the speech is very good, and please have it. And spoken also very well. We have Martin Luther King?
Fourscore and 7 years ago,
Clarity.
our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. That this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom. And that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Okay. So public speaker has to be very articulate. There's no reason why he should be very fast or no, very articulate. And this is an example where each and every word is spoken very clearly. Yeah. Now Martin Luther King. Now you see the speech organs the way he
At this time, I have the honor to present to you the moral leader of our nation. I have the pleasure to present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a red beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. So we've come here today to dramatize the shameful condition. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. And the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence.
Now we
They
play.
were signing a promissory note.
I hope you have noticed the way he is
Whichever
using this.
American was the
Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
ये आश्चर्य है कि परमाणु परीक्षण की भी आलोचना की गई। पूछा गया देश के सामने कौन सा खतरा था।
Notice modulation.
मैं 1974 में सदन में था जब श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी के नेतृत्व में परमाणु परीक्षण किया गया था। हमने उसका स्वागत किया था, प्रतिपक्ष में थे फिर भी स्वागत किया था क्योंकि देश की रक्षा के लिए वो किया गया था। उस समय कौन सा खतरा था? क्या आत्मरक्षा की तैयारी तभी होगी जब खतरा होगा? अगर तैयारी पहले से हो तो जो खतरा अगर आने वाला तो खतरा भी दूर हो जाएगा। खतरा अमल में नहीं आएगा। और इसीलिए हमने परमाणु परीक्षण करने का फैसला किया। हमारे कार्यक्रम का अंग है, उसमें लिखा हुआ है, कोई छुपी हुई बात नहीं थी, कोई रहस्य नहीं था। अध्यक्ष महोदय, परमाणु परीक्षण के बारे में श्री चंद्रशेखर जी ने कुछ विचार व्यक्त किए। मुझे खेद है कि मैं उनके विचारों से सहमत नहीं हो सकता। उनके चिंतन की एक विशिष्ट धारा है। लेकिन 50 साल का हमारा अनुभव क्या बताता है? क्या रक्षा के मामले में हमें आत्मनिर्भर नहीं होना चाहिए? केवल एक पड़ोसी नहीं, हमारे अनेक पड़ोसी। इस समय यूरोप में क्या हो रहा है वो एक चेतावनी है।
Okay, now we play Modi.
इस सदन में मैं पहली बार आज मेरा प्रवेश भी नया है और भाषण का अवसर भी पहली बार हो रहा है। इस सदन की संसदीय परंपराएं बहुत ही उच्च रही है। इस सदन में काफी अनुभवी 3-3, 4-4 दशक से राष्ट्र के सवालों को उजागर करने वाले, सुलझाने वाले, लगातार प्रयत्न करने वाले वरिष्ठ महानुभाव भी इस सदन में विराजमान है। मुझ जैसा एक नया व्यक्ति जब कुछ कह रहा है, सदन की गरिमा और मर्यादाओं में कोई चूक हो जाए तो नया होने के नाते आप मुझे क्षमा करेंगे, ऐसा मुझे पूरा विश्वास है। राष्ट्रपति जी के अभिभाषण पर लोकसभा में 50 से अधिक आदरणीय सदस्यों ने अपने विचार रखे। मैंने सदन में रहते हुए कुछ और कुछ
So relaxed countenance, very relaxed, thinking and speaking like our Atal Bihari Vajpayee was. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was, the difference is, he was thinking of a sentence, taking a longer pause, and then he would just speak a sentence. And then again give a pause, so that people understand. His style was unique, but Modi is also clear, confident, very natural. He doesn't have any affectation. One thing you must have seen common is that all people, all good speakers speak from the mind. No affectation. Yes? Now we'll have Steve Jobs.
Thank you. I'm honored to be with you today for your commencement from one of the finest universities in the world. Truth be told, I never graduated from college, and this is the closest I've ever gotten to a college graduation. Today, I want to tell you 3 stories from my life. That's it. No big deal. Just 3 stories. The first story is about connecting the dots. I dropped out of Reed College after the first 6 months, but then stayed around as a drop-in for another 18 months or so before I really quit. So why did I drop out? It started before I was born. My biological mother was a young, unwed graduate student, and she decided to put me up for adoption. She felt very strongly that I should be adopted by college graduates, so everything was all set for me to be adopted at birth by a lawyer and his wife. Except that when I popped out, they decided at the last minute that they really wanted a girl. So my parents, who were on a waiting list, got a call in the middle of the night asking, "We've got an unexpected baby boy. Do you want him?" They said, "Of course." My biological mother found out later that my mother had never graduated from college and that my father had never graduated from high school. She refused to sign the final adoption papers. She only relented a few months later when my parents promised that I would go to college. This was the start in my life. And 17 years later, I did go to college. But I naively chose a college that was almost as expensive as Stanford. And all of my working-class parents' savings were being spent on my college tuition. After 6 months, I couldn't see the value in it. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and no idea how college was going to help me figure it out. And here I was, spending all the money my parents had saved their entire life. So I decided to drop out and trust that it would all work out okay. It was pretty scary at the time, but looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. The minute I dropped out, I could stop taking the required classes that didn't interest me and begin dropping in on the ones that looked far more interesting. It wasn't all romantic. I didn't have a dorm room, so I slept on the floor in friends' rooms. I returned Coke bottles for the 5-cent deposits to buy food with. And I would walk the 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple. I loved it. And much of what I stumbled into by following my curiosity and intuition turned out to be priceless later on. Let me give you one example. Reed College at that time offered perhaps the best calligraphy instruction in the country. Throughout the campus, every poster, every label on every drawer was beautifully hand calligraphed. Because I had dropped out and didn't have to take the normal classes, I decided to take a calligraphy class to learn how to do this. I learned about serif and sans serif typefaces, about varying the amount of space between different letter combinations, about what makes great typography great. It was beautiful, historical, artistically subtle in a way that science can't capture, and I found it fascinating. None of this had even a hope of any practical application in my life. But 10 years later, when we were designing the first Macintosh computer, it all came back to me. And we designed it all into the Mac. It was the first computer with beautiful typography. If I had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. And since Windows just copied the Mac, it's likely that no personal computer would have them. If I had never dropped out, I would have never dropped in on that calligraphy class, and personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do. Of course, it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when I was in college, but it was very, very clear looking backwards 10 years later. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path. And that will make all the difference.